Hello and welcome back to another podcast episode of Stoke Fan TV with myself, Max.
And me, Sam.
And we are back from the international break. What an exciting break it was for us Stoke fans, eh? Anyway, we've got back into it, and the first game back was against the Foxes, and we were slightly outfoxed by the Foxes, weren't we? 2-1 defeat away from home, back-to-back losses now, which is unusual for Stoke this season, isn't it, really? So we're going to be delving into it. Our guests today are the ever faithful Hoppo and Al. Al's joining us all the way from sunny Canada, where it's starting to snow, hasn't it, over there, Al?
Yeah, we're supposed to get a foot of snow tonight, so
Well, we've seen
just
the
hope it holds in
football
there.
we've seen the football that you get over there. I think there was a
Yeah,
highlights of some guy scoring an overhead kick in a slight snowstorm, wasn't there? So
yeah, that was the Canadian Premier League Championship game, so it was pretty bizarre to watch. It was fun.
you think can they do it on a cold, wet, windy night in Stoke? Well, by playing some of the football they do in the Canadian leagues. Anyway, before we get into it, would you do us all a big favour? Hit the pause button, hit the like and subscribe button if you would, because it does make a huge difference to the channel and it really pushes it out there and get some more views. And leave a comment below. Even if you're watching, you're a Leicester fan, leave a comment below for us. So, right. Another loss. So, Sam, I'm going to come to you first. That's back-to-back losses, unfortunately. But what did you make to the performance against Leicester?
To be honest, Max, I thought we played quite well. I think we were the better team for most of it. It's just back to that same old we can't score goals issue that Stoke have had for ages, and we should have won that yesterday.
Well, yeah, I mean the stats when you look at some of the stats from the game, it was. I know that stats don't tell the whole story, do they? But we had better possession. We had way more shots. I don't think they had a single corner the whole game. I think we had something like 10 or 11. We had chances, and it just felt like one of them, didn't it? Really, a little bit. And we are going to have games like that this season where we have ones of them. Hopper, I'll bring you in next before I fly over the pond to Al. What did you think to the Leicester game?
Oh, I was there yesterday. I think Sam sums it up, doesn't he? And the stats sum it up. It was, yeah, stats don't always tell a story, but they do for yesterday. There's one team in it really for the whole 90 minutes. I think we had a little period where we maybe dropped off after they scored the first, but then we picked it back up again. But yeah, I think apart from their two goals were an error, really, both errors from our side, but they didn't really create anything. Victor didn't have a save to make.
He didn't. He
Apart from
didn't.
that,
Statistics. I'm just
no,
looking at it. He didn't
no,
make a single save.
not one save. So they created nothing. We dealt with everything they got, and we should have scored. And their man of the match clearly is Begovic. I didn't see. I saw the melee at the end, just right near the end of the game. But apparently, it's you can see it on television. I don't know. He's Begovic's pulled Phillips' hair. So I mean, if that gets seen, that's a red card and it's a penalty. We were squared the match. So I feel a bit of an injustice, but performance was good, really, really good. Against a good team, the quality they come down from the Premier League. They've got some real quality in that team, but we nullified them. They weren't really a threat, and yeah, it feels frustrating because we should have got something out of the game. We were the better team, so but you're going to get this, aren't you? It's the championship.
I think your
Don't take
word,
your chances.
literally,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
word you said there, I think that summarizes the game for me is frustrating.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it
Frustrating.
was. Yeah, it was frustrating. And the crowd were brilliant. The Stoke fans all game stuck with the players, and the applause they gave them at the end of the game shows you everything you need to know about the performance. They were really appreciative. They all put a shift in, and it is frustrating that we didn't get anything really.
Al, would you echo what opposite? I mean, what were your thoughts watching the game? Obviously, I don't think you were there. I don't think you were there yesterday, were you, mate? But you were watching it, no doubt.
Yeah. It was, I 100% agree with Hoppo and Sam. I mean, it's the lads played really well. It was a good game. We probably deserved a point, right? I guess just I guess the salty or cynical me. I just look at both of the goals scored against us. We're really the first one was playing out from the back, the long pass on the turf from the back, It was a very long pass and was so easily picked off. Our defense was exposed and they just marched right through. Um, the second goal was kind of under the same circumstances. I mean, Wilmo came back, he did that nice tackle, he got in there. It was just an unfortunate bounce. The ball, instead of going in front of his shins, bounced over him right into the Leicester player's feet, and he marched and dinked it over top of Victor. So there were a couple of goals that were just, I'm not going to say they were.
But would you say they were preventable? Do you think they were preventable goals?
I would say they were preventable because I've watched the highlights 1,000 times now. It seems like I just had them on a loop, and I was pausing and I was going backwards and rewinding and seeing what the build up to the Leicester goals were, and they were just errors on our part. Picking off our passes. There was a lot of space I noticed between the defense and the midfield. A lot of space there. We weren't playing too tight ups. We had our forward line and our midfield playing pretty far forward, so it left a pretty big gap in there, and Leicester exploited that for those goals.
It was, yeah. I mean, Sam, Al's just touched on the fact that those goals were preventable. Do you do you think Stoke should have won yesterday? And what was it about it that why couldn't we get over the line? You mentioned the lack of goals, or was it just what was it?
What frustrates me is Stoke don't have the confidence in front of goal. There was a couple of opportunities yesterday where we should have shot first time, especially Mabama got the ball after Leicester messed it up trying to play from the back, and then he passed it to Manu. Now, Manu is the most frustrating player I've seen in a Stoke shirt for years. He has got so much skill, but he just doesn't. Every single time he does the same thing, and it's just so frustrating.
When you say he does the same thing, do you mean he cuts in or on his left or?
Yeah, we haven't got any players that are good with both feet, and all the teams have got to do is research us before, know what foot a player wants to do the best with, and they just mark it. There's nothing they can do.
There is frustration with Manuf at times. He's this kind of player that he has got all this talent, and that it's just sometimes about his decision making as well. Before I go back to Hoppo, I know Ali was saying to me or saying in the chat yesterday, he frustrates you sometimes, doesn't he? With his decision making, maybe in that final third, maybe he could just. That's the difference, maybe I suppose, between him just moving up to that next level.
Yeah, I mean, and again, watching the replays again yesterday, I looked at a few of the times that Manhoef was in possession in either the 18-yard or 6-yard, and he literally doesn't take his eyes off the ball, right? The one time he did is he made that really nice cross inside the box over to Junho, and Junho missed by, about a yard wide of the goal. But it was still, that was a much better opportunity that he set up. And this is where my frustration is with Manhoef. And I think it's just a matter of experience, and he's young. He doesn't see the play. He doesn't see the bigger picture. And that's, for me, when you're a forward player, you really need to have that vision of what's going on inside that 18-yard box and where the team's best opportunity is to score, not necessarily your own best opportunity to score. I mean, I think, like you nailed it, Max. The guy has loads of skill. His ability to dribble the ball and keep possession is top notch. He's great, but it's everything after that, right? And that's where I get so frustrated with Manhoef that we looked yesterday and the one where Manhoef cut in from the right and he put it over the net, or I guess he put it right over the goal, and Mubama was literally wide open in front of his man, and just a little dink over by Manhoef, and Mubama probably could have headed that into the net, because Bego, he played a great game yesterday, but he is 38 years old. He doesn't have the lateral movement he used to. So if you want to score against a keeper like that, you have to move that ball laterally across the box quickly and take those strikes. And look at the way Junho scored. I mean, there's beautiful cross by Shamadou. Phillips headed it over, Junho into the net. right? Bego didn't have that lateral mobility.
It's interesting because I want to draw it back to Mubama now a bit because you mentioned Mubama there and Hoppo. I want to get your thoughts on Mubama because I've on the Facebook page and I've seen on other Facebook pages people are saying Stoke, we need a striker. We need someone come in January. I think Obama is a good striker. I think he's a good player, and I want to get Hopper. I want to get your thoughts on this because he doesn't. He's not prolific. He's still our top scorer. He scored 5 goals in I think 14 appearances or something like that. But okay, 3 of them were in a single game, and he's been scoring as well. We've seen him scoring for the England under-21s, haven't we? He's been banging them in for them. Oppo, what's your thoughts on Mubama? What does he need to do, or how is it a fact that it's not necessarily his thing, or is people not playing him in, as Al's just mentioned there, or what?
It's a little bit of everything, really, because I mean, there's no doubt he's a great talent, and his movement is second to none. It must be really hard for defenders to pick him up. He makes those runs across the back. For defenders, it's like, how do you pick him up? So he's got everything in his locker. I don't know, maybe it's just little moments. I noticed yesterday, I forgot who it was. Johnny put a fantastic little ball through for him. It was a little one touch. If he'd have read it or been anticipating it, um, he's through then, he's through on goal. He didn't anticipate it. Manuf, second half, goes through, puts a lovely ball across the box, and he didn't attack it, he didn't go for it. Whether he was thinking Manuf's going to go for the shot, as we all were, and he put a great cross in. He just needed somebody attacking the 6 yard box, and he didn't do so. It's little things like that, And let's not forget, he's really, really young. He's come from an academy. He's going straight into the men's game. The championship is really difficult. So I think it's not one particular thing. You think it's lots of little things and it's work in progress. For me, where he'll improve is if we can get this number 10 role a lot better to get those balls, that little supply into him, a little movement. I think he'll feed off him. I think he'll have a bag full. I really do. So for me, the problem at the moment is that number 10 role doesn't seem to be working. He's a little bit isolated at times. So think it's that area there. And it's as if they're still not sure of his game and he's not sure of others. They're not, if you look at Coventry, they're free flowing, they're banging goals in. There's like you know what each other's going to do. And they're just in the right space by the passing the movement. And that's where we're lacking. And I think he's a young lad, but we just need to, if you take a punt on him, you've got to give him chance and give him time. So let's get this number 10 role sorted out, which I think they do. And I think you'll see a better Mubama then, definitely.
I mean, it's funny that you mention Coventry because they are we talk about them and we hold them to quite a high standard, especially this season, obviously, because the sheer amount of goals that they have scored. When I look at the stats and I look at who scored the most goals for them, it's Thomas Asante, isn't it? And then you've got Haji Wright going down the second on the list. Neither of them are playing as strikers, are they? I don't think. I think isn't it Sims playing as the forward?
Sims been struggled a few times. Come on, hasn't it?
Because what's mad about that is if it's Sims, I'm not 100% sure, but if it's Sims playing as the striker for Coventry, he's only got 3 goals.
Yeah,
the goals have come from other players, haven't they?
I think it is. It's a collective, isn't it? But they're everywhere, aren't they? But they just seem to. It's like when you see the good teams, they like telepathic kind of. They know what each other's going to do, and they've got it down to an art. Coventry have they really have? They're doing great, and yeah, I think this is what we're lacking. But it's the collective, isn't it? Really, and I just think we're a little bit short for me in the number 10 role.
Saying that though, Oppo, as I said, I've been shouting from the rooftops at times about this number 10 position for a lot of the season. I do think that Bejono yesterday had his best game of the season. That's mad, really. And it was good. It finally gets on the score sheet. Finally, he's got on the score sheet. We need that number 10 to be scoring goals. I've just mentioned Thomas Asante. He's been playing that number 10 role, hasn't he? I think
Yeah.
just behind the striker for Coventry. He's got 10 goals this season. We need that number 10 role, to come to fruition. And I think that yesterday was the closest he's got to kind of getting it right. I don't know what happened. It was almost, I think, I know he woke up and said, "Oh, I'm not playing left wing today. I'm going to be," because for me, the number 10 is a tough position to play because in the modern game, the number 10 is a midfielder as much as they are a second striker. You jump back to the 80s kind of time, and you're number 10, or and going forward from the 80s, obviously, but you jump back in your number 10, the roles of like your Maradona was your number 10, wasn't he? And then we move forward and we've got like Kaka and players like that. They are the number 10, but they didn't play like a number 10 plays now. They didn't play like that at all. They were much higher up the pitch. They didn't have to drop back and do all this defending. So he's in this tricky position, I think, where he's got to come back. But what I want to see more of him is I want to see him going beyond Mubama more. And I want to see him arriving late in the box. And yesterday we saw him get his head on the ball at the back post. That's what I want from a number 10. And I think, Sam, what do you reckon to Bay's performance yesterday? Did you think it? I mean, there wasn't. I'm not saying he was perfect because he didn't give the ball away at one point for the second goal or something, and then it went through. I'm not sure.
I think he was still very much left side dominant. He was more on the left hand side of the pitch for the majority of the game, and I did notice that. But he did put in a much better performance than we've seen from him, and it was good to see him get that goal. I think that's going to give him more confidence to get more further forward in the box.
Do you think that could be a turning point for him?
Potentially, fingers crossed.
We'd like to see the best of Bejano because he's another frustrating player at times because we know he's got this ability, and he must be showing it on the training pitch as well at times because Donnelly's not even getting a sniff. He's not even getting a whiff of that first team coming on, is he? At all. Al, can I throw it over to you? This number 10 situation.
Yeah, it's a bit of a debauchery, really. I mean, it's I still don't think Juneho's the answer for number 10. And again, much like what you said, Max, I'm not taking anything away from Juneho. I think he's an amazing player. He's quite gifted. The issue I have is he's for me, yes, it was his best game he's had all season yesterday, even though, like you say, he did miss that forward pass that led up to the second goal, but it was a crappy pass as well. So it was a bit of both. Anyways, for me, the number 10 role, like you say, Max, it's evolved from what it used to be. And kind of when I look at a number 10 role, they're scoring from outside the box, from inside the box. They should be scoring both sides of both sides of the box, right? And I look at our goals for that we have this year. We've only scored 2 goals all year from outside the box.
Really?
Okay. That's it. Just 2. So for me, that's where, I think we're struggling a bit. And if I was to pick a player that I would put in that number 10 role, it's probably going to raise some eyebrows, and everybody knows I love him, but I would put Lowell in there. The reason being, he is tall. So he's got the height. He has the width. I mean, he's a big guy. He can muscle through those center backs if he wants to push forward into the 6-yard box. But he's showing he can score a header. He's extremely solid on the ball. I would personally like to see Lowell come back in because I don't know if there's going to be room for him with Phillips and Wilmot playing so well together. I mean, it was a bit off yesterday, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't interrupt that defense too much. But I would personally start to think about somebody like a Lowell or a Gallagher type kind of a player in that role rather than Bay because Bay's just too short. He's too small, in my opinion.
I think I'd love to see what happens when Lowell gets back into this team. There's a funny interview. Well, I say funny. It was an interview on the Stoke City Facebook page, I think, when they were interviewing Lowell. And he wasn't sure about because I asked him, what's your best position? And he wasn't sure. And he started describing what he's good at. And I was just listening. And to me, from what he was describing, just sounded, this is the perfect box-to-box midfielder for me.
Yep.
We know he's capable defensively, but what he's really good at, and if you look back, as I say, to his highlights from when he was at Fleetwood, he just breaks the lines without having to pass the ball, which is mad, really. Because you think about how you break the lines, don't you, in football, and how you move up the pitch in your transitions, and you pop the ball off, don't you? You move and you receive the ball. Tell you who's good at that is Seko, really good at that. But like, if he gets that ball in the middle of that pitch and he can just drive through past their number 10 or between the middle of their two holding, 8 and 6, between them and then start spreading it, that's going to be really fun to see. Hoppo, what do you think? Where would you stick Llewell? He's coming back. He's on the bench.
Well, anywhere, can't you, really? But yeah, I
Same
think
anyway.
he
Put in
probably
goal.
got him there, really. Yeah, he'd probably go and goal, wouldn't he? But yeah, I think there's some mileage in that. I'd certainly be looking at trying it out. Yeah, because I think he's got goals in his locker as well. He's got the one against Birmingham with a header. But there's a lot to his game, and yeah, I think you probably could have bet on, something there. He likes to take people on. He's powerful. He can really pass the ball as well. So yeah, I'd be looking at that. Maybe it's something they are going to consider, but personally, I don't think they will. I think they see him more as a defensive midfielder, or I don't know. I really don't know. Or maybe they'll wait for January and see who's available. But yeah, personally, I'll play him anywhere. My feelings on him. I said beginning of the season, he's going to be
He's a great player.
player of the season. But obviously, he's missed a chunk now, hasn't he? So yeah, no, great. I think some mileage in it, to be honest with you, definitely.
We'll see where he can potentially come back in. We've got to talk about this. We've got to talk about the Stokes plan B, right? Because we spoke about it in the last pod when we lost to Coventry, and this is the second game. Do you think that we made one sub, didn't we, against Leicester? We made one substitution, and you're thinking we need a goal. We need to bag a goal here. But I don't know. My biggest worry for Stoke this season is I think we've got a great opportunity, but where's our plan B coming from when plan A isn't working? Right? We've got we've got a good front three, I think. I think we've got a really good front three and that front three picks itself for me. At the minute, just even if they're not necessarily having the best game, they're the most dangerous front three I think we've got at the minute. But where's our plan B if they ain't firing? For me, Sam, we spoke about this a little bit last game. Again, names are being floated on social media. January's coming up. What do you think, mate?
I think that Stoke are going to really struggle if Mabama gets injured because we haven't got a striker in the club at the minute that's actually got a goal. Yeah, so if we lose Mabama, we're going to struggle. But I think that I don't know. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one to do, really. I don't really know.
You're not sure. Al, what do you
No.
think?
Yeah, I mean, I like Bojnik. I think it's taking him longer to adapt to English football than maybe than maybe some other players. I mean, Rigo's adapted quite well, but Rigo's been getting a lot of game time too. So, yeah, our plan B honestly kind of sucks. It kind of sucks, right? It's a small b. It's a lowercase b. It's not a capital B, right? So, I mean, and I'm just going to circle back here, and I know you guys are going to think I'm out of my mind, but again, the Lowell question comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Is he coming back into the team? Our numbers, when you look at the data sets, our team was better when Lowell was in the club, was in playing.
Right.
Plain and simple. The numbers don't lie. Again, there's a lot of other things around that. However, the data set is the data set. Now, when I start to look at what that plan B is Boz the guy? Not yet. I'm not saying he can't be, but he's not ready. He's not right now. I think Bojnik he was never a big goal scorer, even when he was playing in Europe. I mean, it was just it was he's not a prolific guy. He's not going to go out and get you that 12 to 15 goals a year. He's going to get you 4, 5, 6 goals a year, kind of a guy, right? So that's a pretty big gap. So we don't really have, and let's be fair. I mean, Mubama, we have him for the year on loan, but that brings up the question of what are we going to do not only in January because we have to prep, but what are we going to do next summer? So we do need to look at a striking option, right? And January is traditionally a pretty crap time to bring in another striker, right? It doesn't often work out well. It's usually you're getting the dredges, right, and crossing your fingers that they're going to work out. So right now, for me, our plan B is to work with what we have. Maybe look at putting 2 up front. Maybe.
You put should we play 2 up front? I mean, this thing comes up right on social media. I've got a favorite team in a second off about this. Comes up all the time. Let's stick 2 up front. People say let's stick 2 up front, but not many teams play with 2 up front in a minute because you get overloaded in the middle of the pitch. You know, that's the whole point. That's why this number 10 has come in, right? It's because you get overloaded in the middle, and you don't get to you don't get to your top 2 because you can't get through unless you go over the top long ball, which Stoke used to do. Hoppo, right. What's our plan B, mate? When we get into a situation and our front 3 ain't firing.
Well, I think there was a lot of people calling for subs yesterday. I mean, I thought to myself, if that had been me, I'd have looked at bringing Lowell and get Pearson a rest through the last 15 minutes. He wasn't playing bad, but just freshen it up. And I know there was a lot of people yesterday saying, "Why aren't you making subs? Aren't you making subs?" Maybe he had one eye on Tuesday. I don't know. That was his thinking. But yeah, you've got to have a plan B. I mean, but it wasn't not working yesterday. It was working. We just lacked a goal. It was bad decision making. It was bad little moments. So I think the plan was working yesterday. We just lacked the finishing touch. But for me, I wouldn't have changed maybe the system formation. I would have just freshened it up a little bit and just give that a little bit of, empty, like fresh pair of legs in there. So that was really for me. But yeah, you do need a plan B. And you have to adjust depending on who you're playing. Some teams are going to, I don't know, Charlton, I think probably Charlton Tuesday. I've got a feeling because we got front that they might be a little bit more defensive. So you're going to have to look at a team that's going to break them down a little bit on Tuesday. You play against the likes of the last one, you get a lot more room in midfield, so you'd be a bit more expansive. So, yeah, I think, like I say as well, with the plan B, there's a few players they brought in that would be the plan B. All quite up to speed, yeah. I think Rigo and Bosnick are one of them. So, yeah, I don't know. I trust him what he's doing, and it's as simple as that. Really, he knows a lot more about the game than I do. So I'm not going to start saying to Mark Robbins, "You need to do this as a plan B." Or I trust what he's doing. I trust his judgment.
Fair on you, Hoppo. I'd say Mark Robbins, obviously, he knows slightly more than me in football, just about. And I think that I think he's all hit the nail on the head for me. I think when I said, what's our plan B, and it was, well, the best we can do is bring on Lowell, who's been playing as a centre back. That to me says that we need to strengthen in January in those attacking areas. That to me says that we need a second striker. We need a second winger who's, going to come off the bench and everyone's going to go, oh, heck, here he comes. And we need a number 10 as well to come in. That again, we say, oh, heck, here he comes. He's coming in off the bench. So I think there's food for thought there, Stoke fans. Let us know.
We'd probably say we got him there, haven't we? But Cisse he looks promising, but he's probably not up to speed yet. Brego's not up to speed yet. Bosnick's not up to speed. You never know till they put the shirt on, till they're playing. But I don't think they bought them really. I think they bought them probably for the long term. So they probably get. I mean, I'll always say, look at Arnautovic when we signed him. It was a big thing. He played for, I think, played for Inter Milan, played for Mourinho. That it took him a good half a season, if not longer, to settle in. His first season, he was in great shapes, and then we saw the real Arnautovic, and we saw what a player he is. So I think we've probably got them there with long-term plan B, but they're not quite ready yet. So just have to be a little bit patient and stick with what we're doing.
We'll see. We'll see. My worry is that we got this season, and then next season is a completely new season, and we're gonna be stripped down. We're going players going to come and go. We'll see. We'll see. I think let's also be fair. Before we finish the show, look where we still are in the league. Eh? We're still third in the league. We're still flying compared to last season. We're still flying. It's not. We're not being negative. If anyone's going, "Oh, you're all negative," here we're just chatting. And I think I think the where Stoke were last season in comparison to this season is night and day.
Absolutely.
I want the icing on my cake now. I want to eat, I want that extra cherry on top. I've got my cake. I want to eat it too because I want Stoke now to see where they are and realize that with a little bit of thought, with a little bit of planning and prep, and I'm sure they're doing it behind the scenes, but just that little bit, they could reach that next level, and you can sneak it. They sneak it this season, right? Right, just go right under the radar and sneak it, and be like Sunderland. And now look at Sunderland. Granted, Sunderland have replaced pretty much their whole team while they're in the Prem and they're playing completely different football to the Championship. That's a different video. But like literally, we could do that, I think, with the right thing. But it's positive.
Sorry to interrupt, but we are so close to a really good team. We're not a million miles away. We're really getting there. But let's not forget, we were a team that got relegated last year.
Mm.
You know, in what he's done in the short space time in the summer is incredible. And I'm delighted where we are. And yeah, it's disappointing we lost 2 games, but we've really played well, and we should have got something out of both them games. It's work in progress, but we are incredibly close to being a very good team. And don't forget your Middlesbrough and Coventry's and all them. They're ahead of us. They were all having good seasons last year, and we are right on the coattails. So there's a lot to be positive for. Let's just stick with what we're doing. Definitely getting there.
Good note to end it on that, Hoppo. We've got about a minute or so left before our thing runs out. So we'll thank you to all our guests who've come on today's show. Don't forget, everybody, hit the pause button, hit the like and subscribe if you can, and help support the channel. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We enjoy reading through. Try and reply to ones. When we've got 5 minutes, depends how many comments we get, isn't it? But really appreciate, chaps. Let's just keep going. Let's keep going with our positive vibes, and let's keep supporting the mighty Potters. Right, so we'll try and get do the round. So it's a goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Seasoned professionals, these boys. They've been doing it forever. Look at that. In one. No doubt was there. And we'll see you all on another podcast episode of Stoke Fan TV. Go on, Stoke.